Jason, I want you to imagine something with me right now. You are sitting in an important meeting. Everything is going fine, and then suddenly your name is called unexpectedly. Everyone turns to look at you.
Oh no, I already feel it, and it is not even real.
Your heart jumps, your mind goes blank, and the one thing you need most in that moment, your ability to think clearly, completely disappears.
That is the most accurate description of my entire professional life.
And here's the question I want to ask you. In that moment, what do you actually do?
Honestly, I smile, I say something vague, and I hope nobody notices that I have left my own body.
You leave your own body?
Full departure, no return ticket, gone.
And I think every single person listening right now just recognized that feeling because pressure does something to all of us, something nobody warned us about and nobody taught us how to handle.
We just survive it, or we don't, and we call that normal.
But what if it didn't have to be that way? What if staying calm under pressure was not a personality trait some people have and others don't, but a skill anyone can actually learn?
That question is why today's episode exists.
Hey, English learners, welcome back to the English Connect podcast, your cozy little place to learn real English through conversations that actually touch real life. I'm Sophia.
And I'm Jason. So glad you are here today because this one is personal, this one is practical, and this one might genuinely change how you handle the hardest moments in your day.
Today, we are talking about how to stay calm under pressure. Not the just breathe version, not the advice that sounds great and does nothing, the real version. What actually works, why it works, and how to start using it today.
And we will break down 5 powerful vocabulary words and phrases from today's conversation to sharpen your English.
But right now, before anything else, we have one question for you, and we want your answer in the comments immediately. Don't wait until the end.
Complete this sentence. When I am under pressure, I usually...
Write it. Be honest. Be specific. We read every single comment, and we promise whatever you write, someone else has felt exactly the same thing. Okay, let's go. Okay, Jason, let's start with the thing that nobody explains. What is actually happening inside us when pressure hits?
Because most people just feel it. They never understand it. And when you don't understand something, you can't manage it.
Exactly. So what is going on, biologically actually, when the pressure arrives?
So your brain has one job above everything else, keep you alive. And the moment it detects any kind of threat, real or imagined, it fires an alarm.
And that alarm does something very specific.
It shuts down your thinking, the part of your brain responsible for clear decisions, creative solutions, and calm responses goes offline immediately.
Which is why under pressure you say things you immediately regret. You freeze when you need to move. You go completely blank when you need to think most.
And here is the part that really matters. Your brain cannot tell the difference between a genuine emergency and a stressful email from your boss.
Exactly. The exact same alarm for a lion and for a passive-aggressive message at 6 p.m.
Same volume, same physical response, same complete shutdown of rational thinking, every single time.
So, most people are walking around in low-level survival mode, treating ordinary daily pressure like it is life or death.
And then wondering why they feel exhausted, overwhelmed, and constantly behind.
Because you cannot think clearly from survival mode. You can only react from it.
So, the very first skill, the one everything else depends on, is learning to notice when the alarm has fired, before you speak, before you react, before you decide.
And how do you do that? Because it happens so fast.
There are physical signals. Your breathing becomes shallow, your shoulders rise, your jaw tightens, your thoughts start spinning.
And most people don't notice any of those things until it is too late, until they have already said the wrong thing or made the reactive decision.
But the moment you catch even one signal, just one, that catching is the beginning of calm.
Why? What does noticing actually do?
Because the moment you observe what's happening, I can feel my heart racing. I notice my breathing has changed. You create a tiny distance between you and the reaction.
You step outside the storm for just a second, and from that second of distance, you can make a choice instead of having a reaction.
A choice instead of a reaction. That's the whole difference between people who handle pressure well and people who don't.
Reactions are automatic, they happen to you. Choices are intentional, you make them. And calm is choosing even when every part of you wants to react.
Now, I want to address the biggest misconception about this because I think it stops a lot of people from even trying to develop this skill.
What is it?
The idea that calm people don't feel the pressure, that they're somehow wired differently, that nothing really touches them.
And that is completely wrong.
Completely. Calm people feel the pressure just as much, sometimes more, because the people who handle the hardest situations are usually the ones dealing with the most difficult ones.
The difference is they don't let the feeling make the decision. They feel it, and they choose their response anyway.
Calm is not the absence of feeling. Calm is feeling everything and still choosing how you respond.
And that distinction, once you really understand it, changes how you see every calm and composed person you've ever admired.
They were not born that way. They practiced choosing over and over in small moments until it became their default.
So, calm is a skill, not a personality trait you either have or you don't.
A skill, learnable, buildable, practicable by anyone, including every person listening right now.
Okay, so what are the actual tools? What do you do in the moment when pressure arrives and the alarm starts firing?
First tool, and this one is biological, not just psychological. Slow your exhale down deliberately.
Not just breathe, specifically make your out-breath longer than your in-breath. In for 4 counts, out for 6 or 8.
And why does that specific ratio matter?
Because a long exhale directly activates your body's calm response through your nervous system. It's a biological switch, not a metaphor, not wishful thinking.
You're literally sending a chemical signal to your brain that says the emergency is over, thinking can resume.
And it takes less than 60 seconds. You can do it in a meeting, in a conversation, in a car, before walking into a room.
Nobody even knows you're doing it. It's completely invisible.
Second tool, name what you're feeling before you act on it. Out loud or silently, just say the word.
I'm feeling overwhelmed. I'm feeling anxious. This situation is making me angry.
And neuroscience actually confirms this. The moment you name an emotion, its intensity drops measurably.
So saying, I'm anxious, physically makes you less anxious.
Because naming it moves the emotion from the reactive part of your brain to the thinking part. And once it's in the thinking part, you can actually work with it.
You stop being the anxiety, you become the person observing the anxiety. And those are very different places to make decisions from.
Third tool, and this is the one that separates people who stay calm from people who just go quiet. Before you respond to anything under pressure, ask yourself one question.
What is the question?
Will this matter in 5 years? Not to dismiss the situation, but to find the right size for it.
Because under pressure, everything feels enormous, catastrophic, like the most important thing that has ever happened.
And most things, when you honestly ask that question, are not catastrophes. They are difficult moments that will pass.
And when you find the right size for a problem, you stop responding to it as if the world is ending.
You respond to it as what it actually is, a challenge that needs a measured, clear-headed response.
Not a panicked one, a measured one. And measured responses produce better outcomes almost every single time.
Now, I want to talk about something that I think is the hidden cost of not developing this skill, because it is so much bigger than just individual moments.
What do you mean?
When you live in constant reactivity, when every pressure spike triggers a full alarm, it compounds. It does not stay in the moment. It spreads.
It spreads into your relationships because people under chronic pressure become short, defensive, and hard to reach.
It spreads into your decisions because reactive decisions are almost never your best decisions.
And it spreads into your health because your body was not built to run the emergency alarm all day, every day without rest.
So, learning to stay calm under pressure is not a nice extra. It is one of the most important investments a person can make.
And here's the part I find most extraordinary about this. Every time you choose calm in a moment of pressure, you are actually training your nervous system.
You are physically rewiring how your brain responds to difficulty over time, gradually, permanently.
So the more you practice it, the more natural it becomes. The default slowly shifts.
From reactive to responsive, from alarm to awareness, from surviving pressure to moving through it with clarity.
And that shift, quiet, invisible, built one moment at a time, eventually changes everything about how you experience your life.
Now, the last thing I want to say, and I think this is the most important thing in this entire conversation.
Tell me.
Staying calm under pressure does not mean pretending everything is fine. It does not mean suppressing what you feel or performing composure for other people.
Because that kind of false calm is exhausting and it always breaks eventually.
Real calm is honest. It says, this is hard, I feel it, and I am choosing how I respond to it.
Not because the situation isn't serious, but because a serious situation deserves a serious, clear-headed response.
And you cannot give a clear-headed response from inside a panic, only from a place of genuine calm.
Which means calm is not the absence of caring, it's the fullest, most responsible expression of it.
The most caring thing you can do in a difficult moment, for yourself and for everyone around you, is stay clear, stay grounded, stay present.
Because one calm person in a room full of panic changes the whole room.
One measured voice, one person who paused before they reacted, and that energy, that groundedness, spreads to everyone around them.
And that person can be you, starting from the very next moment pressure arrives.
Which it will, and now you will know exactly what to do.
One breath, one pause, one choice.
That's all it takes. That's all it ever has taken. All right, everyone, let's break down 5 powerful words and phrases from today's conversation to sharpen your English.
First, composure.
Composure means the state of being calm, in control of your emotions, and mentally clear, especially when things are difficult or stressful. It is not about hiding feelings. It is about not being ruled by them. You can say she maintained her composure even when the meeting turned hostile.
Or he lost his composure for just a moment, and that one reaction changed the outcome of the entire conversation.
So, composure is active. It is something you maintain, something you practice, something you can lose and rebuild. Let's repeat it. Composure.
Composure.
Now let's look at a word for when small pressures build on each other until they become overwhelming.
Compound, used here as a verb.
To compound means to increase or worsen by building on itself, each layer making the next one heavier. You can say her stress compounded throughout the week until by Friday she couldn't make a single clear decision.
Or the problem wasn't one big thing, it was 5 smaller things that had compounded into something unmanageable.
So, compound is useful when you want to describe how manageable things can quietly become overwhelming together. Let's repeat it. Compound.
Compound.
Now let's take a word for responding automatically and intensely without pausing to think.
Reactive.
Reactive means responding automatically and emotionally to situations without pausing to choose your response. A reactive person treats every difficulty as an emergency. You can say he knew he was being reactive, but in the moment he couldn't slow himself down.
Or the most important shift in her leadership was moving from reactive to responsive, from automatic to intentional.
So, reactive is the opposite of calm and composed. It is automatic, fast, and often disproportionate. Let's repeat it. Reactive.
Reactive.
Now, let's look at a phrase for stress that never really goes away, that stays as a constant background noise.
Chronic stress.
Chronic stress means stress that is ongoing and persistent, not just in response to one event, but as a constant state. Unlike pressure that comes and goes, chronic stress stays. You can say, he had been living with chronic stress for so long, he had forgotten what calm actually felt like.
Or chronic stress doesn't always feel dramatic. Sometimes it just feels like being permanently slightly overwhelmed.
So, chronic stress is important because we often normalize it until the body forces us to stop. Let's repeat it. Chronic stress.
Chronic stress.
And our final word, the destination, the thing that calm under pressure actually feels like from the inside.
Grounded.
Grounded means stable, calm, and connected to yourself, not easily swept away by external pressure or emotional storms. A grounded person knows who they are and how they want to respond, even when everything around them is chaotic. You can say, no matter how difficult the situation became, she stayed grounded, and that steadiness gave everyone else permission to calm down too.
Or, being grounded doesn't mean nothing affects you. It means you have something solid inside to return to when things get hard.
So, grounded is not a feeling you either have or don't have. It is something you build. Let's repeat it. Grounded.
Grounded.
These words will help you talk about pressure, calm, and emotional strength in a natural, confident, and very real way.
Choose one or two. Practice them out loud. Use them this week in conversation, in writing, or even just in your own thinking.
Jason, after everything today, where are you honestly sitting with it?
Honestly, I keep thinking about that alarm. That I have been treating minor daily pressure like a 5-alarm emergency for years.
And just seeing that clearly, that is already the beginning of something changing.
So here's your challenge. Specific, honest, and we want you to do it today, not this weekend, today.
This week, the very next time you feel pressure arriving, notice it. Just that. Notice the physical signal, name the feeling, and before you react, take one long, slow breath out.
That is the whole practice. Notice, name, breathe. Do it once and pay attention to what shifts.
Then come tell us in the comments, what is your pressure signal? What is the situation you most want to handle better? We are reading every single one.
If today reached somewhere real in you, share this episode with one person who you have watched struggle under pressure. Someone who deserves this conversation. You don't need to explain why you're sending it. Just send it.
Subscribe, leave us a review, and stay with us. We are here every single week.
And here is what we want you to carry today.
The pressure is coming. It always does. And when it arrives, your brain will fire its alarm. Your thoughts will race, and every part of you will want to react, fast and without thinking. But inside that moment, before the reaction, there is a space. Small, quiet, always there. And in that space, you get to choose, not who the pressure wants you to be, who you have decided to be. One breath, one pause, one choice. That is the whole practice. That is all it has ever been. And the extraordinary thing is this. Every time you choose calm, you make the next choice a little easier. You build something solid, something that pressure cannot shake. That is what grounded means. Not that nothing moves you, that you always find your way back. Start today, right now. The next moment is already on its way.
This is Jason.
And this is Sophia, signing off from the English Connects podcast. Bye.
Keep learning, keep growing, and the next time pressure arrives, you already know what to do.